Hey folks, Tony Caldwell here. No doubt by the time you see this video, you've seen your topic proposal score. I want to talk about that for a minute. In all candor and transparency, we had a couple of really strong grades, a few average grades, and a disproportionate number of grades that, frankly, people aren't going to be happy with. When I was looking through them for a theme, it caused me to kick back to our week one discussions on the topic proposal, because part of the week one discussion was your definition of historiography. I got a partial plate, so saying that word gets tricky. I'll try to use other words and walk around it. Everybody seemed to have a good definition in week one and a good understanding of the fact that we're not talking about the history of an event or the history of a person. The course is talking about how to do the analysis of secondary sources to see what historians have said about the event or the person or the topic or whatever it is you wanted to write about. Last week, I put up a video that talked about the lenses that we use at SNHU in the history department as a means of viewing past events, past people, through a different methods of looking at them, whether it's looking at George Washington through a political lens, looking at George Washington through a military lens, looking at the Great Depression through a cultural lens, or that same era through an economic lens, and comparing and contrasting how historians using different lenses saw that period or that person, or perhaps how historians using the same lens came to different conclusions, different outputs. And I was really comfortable with where everybody was. Looking through the bulk of the papers, those on the left end of the bell curve. If you remember business math and bell curves and the statistical spread and all those kind of things, the left end isn't where you want to be, right? Looking through those papers, there was a clear common theme. Those proposals focused primarily on research. I want to write my paper on George Washington, a brief narrative on George, followed by George Washington was important, and here are all the facts. And yes, there were citations in there. That was a requirement, right? Cite a couple of sources, show how you were going to use those sources. But it was still a proposal for a research paper, because what I was reading was, here's all the facts. Here's why we should look at the life of Washington based on this set of facts. There wasn't a discussion of George Washington needs to be more examined through an economic lens because there's a gap in the historiography around the impact Washington had economically. I didn't see anybody saying we should use a cultural lens. And oh, by the way, here are a couple of scholarly sources that are secondary sources that look at Washington's impact, or Washington through an economic lens, through a cultural lens, through a gender lens. I'm avoiding military and political lens because clearly everybody and their brother that's written about Washington seems to have touched on that. But I hope you understand where I'm driving here. the work reflected a research paper. And you guys have done a really good job in week 1 of kind of calling out the difference in your own words between research and historiography. So I kind of felt comfortable that we were okay. If you've got specific questions, m.caldwell@snhu.edu, that's m.caldwell at snhu.edu. Drop me an email. I can try to, we can do a couple of email exchanges if you want. If you want, we can find some time that fits all of our work schedules and hop on a call and talk about your specific paper and some directions to go. So please, again, if you're on the left side of the bell curve and not clear about where your topic proposal missed the mark, drop me an email. Let's start the conversation. And kind of the last thing here. I've been teaching this particular course for almost 2 years. During that time, there have been a large number of students, and like large in big letters, number of students who got off to a start that they weren't happy with. But they completed the course and they ended up with a really solid score. And I've been candid in some of the week 1 responses. I think I called out that, look, I didn't take this class once. I didn't take this class twice. I was on my 3rd try when I got it right. I get this is hard. I get it's a big shift in the way you approach the topic. So don't get overly discouraged. Don't think, oh God, this is week 3 and I've already blown it. You really can recover. I see it every term. There's always a handful of students that don't do well on this assignment that come back and they get the annotated bibliography right. They've got a really solid rough draft. They get a great final essay. And they walk away with really solid scores and a great foundation to go forward. All of your courses from here on out are going to require a historiographical essay as the final for the course. It's imperative to get it right now. We can get through this. It's all going to be okay. We can get you there. Just drop me a note. Let's have a conversation and we'll get there. I promise. All right. Thanks for your time.